In this movie, I want to talk about what AJAX isn't. The term has gotten somewhat confused because it can be hard for the average person to look at a browser and know whether or not something is AJAX. Consequently, even people who should know a little bit more about what they're talking about have gotten confused and have said things are AJAX or this is great AJAX technology or great use of AJAX, even though it isn't. So, in this movie, I want to talk a little about things that aren't AJAX and why they aren't. For instance, YouTube is not AJAX. Some people might think it is just because it does kind of interesting stuff and there is interactivity and animation, but you can tell right away that it's not just by right-clicking on something, and you can see that it is actually Flash that's doing those movies. Here's another one that catches a lot of people. Google Maps are AJAX. There's no question. They were the first big company to ship an AJAX-enhanced page. Now, you might look at Yahoo Local Maps and think that it's AJAX-enhanced because it does many of the same things that AJAX maps do. Ooh, that's a little much. For instance, in the same way that I said in the previous movie, I can say, put in Ventura, California, and I'll get Ventura, California here, and again, I can scroll around in the same exact way that I could using AJAX. But again, you know that this isn't AJAX by right-clicking, and you can see that it's actually Flash. This one's actually surprised a lot of people, I know, because they were sure that it actually was AJAX, but it isn't. Now you'd think, well, Google did some great things with AJAX in the first place, so Google Finance would of course also be AJAX. And they do some amazing things in Google Finance. For instance, I can change how long this graph goes for, and it does some neat stuff. I can change how long it's going to go for in Zoom, and you can see it's not reloading the page. For some reason, I'm not sure why, once again, it's Flash. Which is not to say that everything that isn't AJAX is definitely Flash. There's a lot of things that are neither AJAX nor Flash. For instance, here's a game. Hopefully you're not offended by hurting bunnies. Well, maybe if I just keep missing them, it won't matter. Whoops, that one I actually hit. And people think that this is AJAX, but it isn't. Because what it is here is just plain old JavaScript. There's nothing AJAX-y about this. It does not go and talk to a server. This is all just animation done with plain old JavaScript. Here's another page that actually caused a little bit of controversy at the time. The writer behind this wrote an article about AJAX effects, and this was from his demo page. So you would click on this, and there was that yellow transition on the number, an AJAX effect. And a lot of people yelled because just because something has a cool transition or nice effect to it does not mean that it goes and talks to a server and comes back with other information. This is just animation being done locally, both to move the numbers and to have that yellow transition. So no AJAX here at all. And finally, this is a game which some people think must have AJAX just because it looks kind of cool and you can move things around and all. But again, it's not going and talking to a server. It is actually JavaScript. This isn't Flash, and it looks kind of Flash-like. But really it is just JavaScript. No AJAX required. So here's our terms. In order to be AJAX, it has to be JavaScript, not Flash. But it also has to contain something that goes and talks to a server and then comes back to the browser and updates somehow. What goes back and forth between the browser and the server may be XML, maybe not. It can be the browser updating the server or the server updating the browser. But there has to be communication between the two. That communication has to be asynchronous, and it all has to be done with JavaScript. And that is what we'll be talking about throughout the rest of this course. So let's get started.